What's up? It's Gypsy Man. It's been a while since I posted a video, but today I want to show you guys how to change the fork seals on the 2009 gsxr1000. This bike has the Showa big piston forks in it, so it's going to be way different than the Kyobi. Like, you can't do this service without buying special tools, which will cost you a few $100s depending on where you get them from. So this is how we started off, taking the forks off of the bike. And you see we got this bike right here we're working on. The person that had this bike, he bought it from a guy that had it lowered for his height, so we're gonna quickly put that back to his standard height for him, because he's actually tall, so I'm sure he will appreciate that. As you can see, I got my tray. This catches all the oil. Couple tools in there for draining the forks. Couple things on the side. I got one of the forks already together, so I can just show you guys this video of how we're going to put together this next fork, and I'll show it to you. And I've already taken the seals off, and the way that I'm going to put them on is the way that you take them off. There's also a really good video online also on YouTube by Mr. Moss, who's an expert and a certified technician in suspension. You know, I'm just here in the garage. I'm an enthusiast that just enjoys taking things apart, to be honest with you. But there are certified guys that know how to do this, and I'm sure their service charge will be adequate, because it takes a lot of work to get these forks done. And you know, a lot of mechanics, when you get the bill, you're like, how did the bill get so high? But I'm not gonna lie to you, there's a few things that mechanics do that actually cost a little bit of money. Off the topic, for instance, on a car doing a timing belt, if they charge you $800, they did $800 worth of work. I've done one before, and it's not a game. It took me a half a day, and that's because I'm not a mechanic, but I'm sure they take a little less time, and they do it all the time. But same thing for bikes. Suspension work takes hours to do. I've been working on this for 2 days, because I needed 2 people to do the big piston forks to loosen up this piece right here, the rod guide. That was a beast, and you do need a special tool for it. And the key to getting it off, is heat. If you put the heat on there, it makes it so simple. But this was my first time doing the big piston forks. Of course, I knew I can do it. It's a fork, but there are some different ways, totally different ways of doing it. You don't need to compress any springs with this one, like the Kyobi. You just basically take everything out, unscrewing it, taking everything out, and make sure you clean everything. Doing suspension work, you got to clean everything. Everything has to be clean. A lot of cleaning. Make sure you have some of the tools. For instance, some of the tools that are needed for this project. Move some of this stuff out the way. You got to get your fork seal driver. I got this one from Motion Pro, and I love it. First time I ever had to use one, because usually with the Kyobi forks, you could definitely do it without the fork seal driver. You can use a large socket to drive in the forks, and a rubber mallet. You need this. It's 45 millimeters. It took me a while on the internet to find information. I'm gonna give you the information. It's a 45 millimeter fork cap removal tool, and it works great. By Motion Pro also. It works great. That makes the job easy. Now this is the tricky tool, and you won't find but about 2 or 3 of them on the entire internet. This one's from Racetech, and it's a hex shape tool, and this has to be used to remove this guide. There's one more tool. This tool costs about 50 bucks, and it was well worth it. I'm glad I found this one, because the other tool cost over $100, $130. And this is why. There's a lot of confusion. You see that as a 12-point socket. But if you look closely at it, it's actually shaped in a hex. So the 12-point tool made by Motion Pro costs about $130. Could cost more. I would go to Revzilla and grab that because they ship super fast, and I like Revzilla because they also price match. So if you find it cheaper, just shoot them an email and let them know. And you need a fork bullet. You don't need it, but it's nice to have. It's the first time I ever used one doing forks, and I've done plenty of forks. It's cool. You could also just put a plastic wrap over the fork and slide everything down the slides, and I'll show you how to use that. So that's the introduction to this video, and I'm going to set this up on a tripod and we can get started. And you see I got everything set aside, but let me show you this though before we leave. I have this one over here draining into my oil catch because it takes a little while for these to drain, and you have to clean it. And while I'm cleaning it, I also let that drain also inside of the catch. Okay? In the next videos coming up, tire changes. I went and spent the money. I think it was a great investment for the Nomar tire changer, and I got my front tire there. Look at me, I'm just a mess. Got my tire weight for me, my front tire, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that also. Alright, so it's Gypsy Man Racing. I'm going to set this up on the podium, and we're going to keep shooting. Peace.